Welcome back to In the Oven with Adam and Brad.
What's up, y'all?
This is a different setup for us today.
Yep, flip-flop.
How are you feeling about it?
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It's easy. TV's a little harder to see, but that's okay. I can't see very well anyways. So.
Well, it's got a swivel mount. We could probably move it around and swivel it if we needed to. Yeah. We've got to figure out something behind me right here. I feel like we need something cool behind me on like that wall.
Fern.
Yeah. A fern?
Fern.
I was thinking we could just get a portrait of me and you.
Okay.
Looking like really regal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah, like Step Brothers style.
Yeah. now we're talking.
I was going to pop up the picture of Aubrey.
The glamour.
Her glamour shot picture, because I feel like it makes its way into our videos and people would appreciate that.
It's a good one.
So maybe I'll just do that next week. I'll just like throw it out there. I'm glad we're doing the podcast today. Didn't know if we would be.
Yeah.
Last week we did our podcast and everything was great.
And then
then the next day it was not great. And
the sickness, man. I don't know how y'all are dealing with it this season, but man, we're getting hit left and right. It seems like
when I searched online, they said that they had 38 million confirmed cases of the flu. And you have to assume that like at least half are like at least half the people don't go in and get anything, right? Because like you didn't go in and your family didn't go in.
Nope.
Right. And so I know Garrison didn't go in. I went in only because I went to urgent care on Sunday because I was literally like, I'm dying at this point. And I'm glad I did because they gave me fluids and they're like, hey, you're really dehydrated and your kidneys are getting damaged from that. So you should probably drink more water. So I probably need to make sure I'm drinking more water right here. But
yeah, me too.
Yeah. I had like a 102 to 103 fever for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Went to urgent care. They gave me some medicine. I think my fever must have broke either sometime Monday because I've just been so medicated. I haven't been, every time I check, it's there. But this morning I checked and I did not have any medicine in my system and I didn't have a fever. So sometime between Sunday night and
yeah, it's good, man. The flu, any of that is terrible. It's just one miserable day after another, and it just doesn't. And then you're like, oh, I feel better. And then wham, no, you don't.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Saturday, I legitimately thought I was getting better.
Yeah.
I literally was like, oh, the worst day was Friday. It's behind me. Like, I was like doing good. And then like Saturday night came and I was like, it's just the nighttime coming at you. But then I woke up Sunday and I was like, literally laying in bed and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't move. Like, I don't want to move. I'm a pretty disciplined person and I like could not get up. So this morning was my first morning of cold plunging.
Good.
I was like, I'm not going to do the full 3 minutes. And then I ended up doing the full 3 minutes.
Yeah, you did.
So that felt good to do. The only issue I'm having right now is the medicine that they've given me says like can cause dizziness, and it definitely does. Okay. Like I just like kind of like woozy feeling.
Yeah, today's probably the first day I felt good, like good. I mean, I got up, I went to the gym, all that good stuff. I did not want to do 20 minutes on the assault bike. So I did 35 minutes on the assault bike.
All right.
Yeah. So I felt pretty good, breathing good, everything. So just, you feel okay. And then you go try to do some cardio, get your heart rate up at all. And then you're like hacking up a lung or spitting up stuff. And it's just like, this is gross. So anyways.
Yeah, they did chest x-rays and everything to make sure I didn't have pneumonia. She said my lungs sounded clear. And the truth is like, I can cough pretty well and I haven't been coughing up that much stuff, you know. I always feel bad for like people like my daughter, Letty, like they can't cough.
They don't know how.
Yeah, they don't know how to do it.
Right.
Like I'm like, blow your nose, and they're like,
right.
And I'm like, no, like really blow. You know?
I was trying to get my daughter to pop her ears the other day, and she was like, it's not working. I'm like, you're not doing anything.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing too. Like I was so clogged up that like constantly my ears would be like popping and stuff. Yeah. So that's when you know you got some sinus issues going on.
Aching.
So, made it through that. Definitely has been an obstacle to overcome with this marathon training. I feel like I'm setting myself further back. So I literally think instead of going to the gym tomorrow, I may go on like just a short run and just see how my body handles it. Man. Also, like I don't think it's a good idea to go full bore back into the gym and do full body or anything like that. So I think I'm just going to go out, maybe run like 4 miles and see how I can.
Yeah, be good for your lungs, good for your heart.
Yeah,
circulation, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I thought, or I could bike, I guess, truthfully too, and just hit the bike up. But yeah, I need to get a little bit of activity on my body again. And now I like feel like my goal is like kind of like moving further away. Cause like, I don't know, how like when you're when you can do like exercise stuff and there's like the guy that's like moving with you. Yep. I feel like I just stopped and that guy that kept moving and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much ground to cover now. So I literally told Aubrey, I was like, I feel like I need to be like biking every day when I get home for like 30 minutes or something like that. And she's like, okay, whatever you think you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of volume's not going to tear you up. And I mean, like, you still have plenty of time. You still have plenty of time.
Yeah, I know. I tell myself that, but also, like, I'm the kind of person that wants to be over-prepared for something like that. I don't know. Like, when I go in, and even though I've set, like, an hour 45 goal, like, I want to be like, I'm going to do better than that. Yeah. Right? And now I'm like, oh, my gosh, I hope I can do that. Right. And that's not what I like. I like to be, like, overly confident in my goals. Yep. So.
Yeah, it's a different animal.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Like if I was going to go into a weightlifting competition, you know, powerlifting or something, like the number, like this is like your first lift, like is a number you know you can hit type thing, and like that was what I wanted that hour 45 goal to be. But right now, that hour 45 goal is like the third lift PR. You know, like. You're going for it all.
Yeah, I would always go in any of my, you know, competitive weightlifting stuff like that. I would always go in with numbers in mind, but then I just had to win overall, so I would just start running calculations in my head and going for broke, man. Like I'd be, because I always really played the weight class game and stuff, and kept my weight really low for that and all that. So yeah, very competitive.
Well, that only works out for you if you're going near the end, because some guy then can just try to one up you at the very end too.
Yeah, but the heavy boys, man, they got to lift so much weight that like you can normally get it. And then super totals got to be a little bit more popular there at the end, where you could do a full power and a full Olympic weightlifting. And then I was like, bro, you deadlift 800 pounds, you ain't clean and jerking nothing or snatching anything. So yeah, so it got a little better. I liked it.
Oh yeah, playing that competitive game, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I sent Andy some videos I saw that you have not seen yet, and I'm very much looking forward to you seeing some of this stuff, because a lot of this deals with where we've already talked about how the market is heading with some of this stuff, is that like DoorDash, DashMart, grocery delivery, Instacart, you know, Walmart Plus, picking up your groceries and not actually going into the store. I think it's funny that businesses talk about how important your branding and packaging is, but I soon think that now you're going to have to start advertising on these websites to get in front of people. You're not going to get people's attention just by walking through a grocery store soon. Nope. And I don't think people realize how big that's going to be. So this is like my future in the next 5 years. The brand is everything.
Brand's everything.
More so than your package design and all that stuff. And I mean, it's more than just like, like Feastables versus Lunchables. Like kids are going to start asking for Feastables, and Lunchables will die out if they can't figure out how to get in front of you. Because right now, parents walk down the aisle and they remember Lunchables. Yep. And they grab their kids' Lunchables.
And the kids go, I don't want these.
Yeah, well, if their kids are with them, right? Or they're on Instacart and they grab the Lunchables or whatever. But like eventually, I think that the brand is going to mean so much more.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be walking through stores. I think the delivery apps, the ease of use. See, it's easier to get your stuff delivered, right? It's just get on your phone, tap, 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 sitting on my door when I get home. I don't have to go by the store. I don't have to stop. I don't have to park. I don't have to deal with all that. But what the store doesn't have to do, they don't have to buy that AAA real estate. They don't need a store over here on 23rd Street. They don't need acres of extra space for retention and parking and all kinds of stuff. They don't need employees. They don't need employees to really stop spillage, because short of or theft, if you will. I mean, like folks accidentally ringing up the wrong thing accidentally or on purpose. There's still plenty of theft that goes on by employees, but less likely are you to just give away Walmart's stuff.
Bro, this is going to blow your mind though, too, because what I think you're going to find is maybe you need a much bigger store than you were thinking. However, that store
to cover the whole state.
Yeah. Ready? Let's see this automated Kroger right here.
What? Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Oh, this is
so Florida now has this. Very interesting.
Their goal is that eventually someone's going to be able to just put the groceries in your fridge for you, and you don't have to do a thing.
The online supermarket.
They have 1,000 robots moving around. It's so cool. So it's basically a center that has that inside it. So when you order a Kroger grocery, one of those little robots is picking your groceries up and putting them into the truck.
Cool. And do they service what? Tampa Bay?
From that facility, they can do all of Central Florida.
Whoa, from
It's-
one facility.
it's bananas.
So they can service millions of people.
Yeah.
From one centralized facility.
From one facility.
And it's in Groveland, which is like
Yeah.
near Lakeland.
Yep. We're just evolving. We're just becoming more and more efficient with the way that we operate as a civilization. And so, sometimes that means it's something like this. Sometimes it's automated vehicles. Sometimes it's AI that's doing things. And it's just it's a cool time to be alive and working in the real estate space, because the real estate space has to house everything that's going through there, and you have to figure out what's the new puzzle today.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's the Ocado facility. That's actually a couple years old. They do a lot more than Kroger now. I think that is absolutely the ticket. Larger pieces of industrialized property, though. I mean, like, where is your local Dash Mart? Where is your local DoorDash facility? It's not really important. It can be off the wrong exit in the industrial park. They need fewer employees because they're using automation. In fact, automation gets easier a lot of times when you get employees out of the way, because they don't have to worry about them running them over or doing, you can have a person out there on the floor. And that's cool, man. Add in self-driving trucks and a little slight redesign of like what a house looks like, where they have the ability to push it into your refrigerator from the outside.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, you don't need any of that.
Right.
I mean, I can see apartments and everything go into like dumbwaiter systems and just
not that you need to go full AI, but you get Tesla bots and stuff that could literally
start putting your stuff away.
Yeah, grab it. Well, I mean, take it to your door and ring your doorbell and walk off, it is very interesting. I've Adam and I have kind of seen this shift of people moving away from like prime grocery frontage towards this thing for a while now. And you've seen when Dixie's going out of business, Aldi's buying the property up and things like that. And Aldi definitely has more of a like low key model inside, like very, I don't know how
they're
to
catering
it.
to that really price conscious shopper. And I think everybody who uses a delivery app knows they're not getting the best possible price, whether they're paying markup in the app or they're paying a delivery fee or they're paying whatever. I think that it will last for a while, the price conscious shopper, sure. But at some point, these big mega parent companies, they got to make money. And if they're holding down these kind of pieces of real estate all over the place, they're going to just phase it elsewhere. I mean, more dollars spent elsewhere.
Yeah, for sure. So very, very interesting to me, just because I didn't know that facility existed like that. But I could see that popping up all over the U.S. And I mean, honestly, it's very convenient if they come deliver it in this little tote bag.
Yeah, and what makes it neat is, Walmart, places like that, they've always kind of been a real estate play, especially when you look at it from what we do on the CPG side, like where you're placed, on the shelf, all of that matters. Now it's on a website. And the cool thing, especially for brands like ours, we have a direct-to-consumer background. That is our base. So, like, winning folks over with quick little videos, with break opens, with things that you can't do on a store shelf. Yeah. But you can on this, like, virtual store shelf. Yeah. That's interesting.
Well, I mean, I think that you've seen a lot of big brands take notice of smaller brands and start gobbling them up. Hershey's buying Sour Strips. I have my own feelings about Hershey's. I think that they're really outdated. We've worked with them / tried to work with them before. They're archaic, old, don't want to change, very set in their ways. So it was very interesting for them to grab Sour Strips, who I feel is like kind of much more niche out there brand. Be curious to see like how it all evolves over the next few years, because I know there's some other candy brands that are on the heels of Sour Strips, doing things as well. Where they end up. Ghost getting bought by Keurig Dr. Pepper, and then you've had Celsius just acquire Alani Nu.
Big buy.
Yeah, which is really crazy because Pepsi just bought Celsius. Because Celsius was the bigger company, truthfully, I think, between the two. But I think they saw how quickly Alani was still growing. And to think that $500 million gave them 8.7% ownership of Celsius. And I'm assuming that's Celsius Alani Nu combined situation, right? So if you bought Alani for $1.8 billion and $500 million gave you roughly 9%, then that would mean you would have to do 11 times that. So that would be $5.5 billion. So Celsius was worth like 3.7.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild. You know, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, they hit their heyday probably in the late 80s, full stride. Now there's so much competition, so many niche soda and carbonated water and everything else that I think it's really shown where the big old school boys shine, and that's maintaining distribution and just acquiring anybody. Yep, just buying you up.
Well, I mean, it's like before you become a real threat, they buy you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that, I mean, we already knew that, right? There's like 7 companies, right, that pretty much own 85% of food brands.
Yep.
And so, you know, I think that's why you see that like nothing ever really is going to come about, because you can't compete at a certain level. Alani couldn't get bigger without more distribution.
That's right.
And they can't get more distribution without being acquired.
Yep.
Or a partnership of some sort, which then is like an acquiring of some sort.
Or a time machine.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, I told Adam this all the time, like, you can't compete with these bigger companies. They bought real estate at a price you're never going to be able to touch it at. They have machines and stuff paid off that you're never going to be able to touch the price anymore.
Yep.
It's like, it's literally, they're grandfathered in, and you can't touch it.
Grandfathered into life. Must be nice.
Yeah. And you just can't touch it. Like, nothing you do about it.
Boomers. Love it.
Hey, just stop eating your avocado toast and pull yourself up on your bootstraps.
Pull your bootstraps up, boys.
This one's another one I sent. And to me, the analogy just like really hit me hard on this. So I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Imagine that your children are having a life out in the real world. They're having adventures. They're doing things. They're building forts in the forest. They're doing all sorts of things. And then one day, a casino opens up nearby, and it welcomes all the kids. And that's where they spend all their time, is in a casino. And they're in the care of a company that is trying to extract as much money as it can from them. And that's what they do 8 or 10 hours a day. It's an abomination to think that a casino could own our children's childhood. What if it wasn't a casino? What if it was a brothel for the boys? Would be more of interest, let's say. Like, again, inconceivable that we would let that happen. But what we've done is we've said, well, what if it's Snapchat? What if it's Instagram? What if it's Facebook? Well, not so much Facebook. What if it's TikTok? These companies, these are some of the largest and most powerful companies in the world. They essentially own our children's childhood. This is where childhood is taking place, on a few giant for-profit platforms that use an advertising-based business model. So they are motivated, like the casino, to keep them in. Don't have a clock. Don't let them see what time it is. Keep them in. Don't let them click over to a link to another site. Keep them in. We somehow have ceded our children's childhood to giant companies that have shown that they don't really care about our kids' welfare. They care much more about profitability, and they care about their customers, who are the advertisers. And these companies have been granted a special writ from the king. Congress said in Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act in 1996, I think it was, Congress said, and nobody can sue you. Nobody can sue you for what you show to their kids. There was a reason for that you don't want AOL to be responsible for everything anyone posts. But it's been so broadly interpreted that so far, any attempt to regulate social media or any attempt to sue them is seen as like, no. So, it's just, we somehow slipped into this. And once you see it that way, that it's as though our kids are being raised in Harrah's casino, no, we've got to stop this.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. My kids are young enough that they this is not an issue, and also young enough that it's not going to become an issue. I mean, all part of the reason why we pulled our kids out of school and homeschool them and curtail everything. I mean, we even got rid of Fortnite and Xbox in general for my son.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he's still got one at my mom's house that, he plays every now and then when he goes over there. But nah, man, had to cut it out. Don't want my kids to be manipulated, their time manipulated, any of that type of stuff. And yeah, it's so stimulating that we've talked about this, man. I think adults are growing up, beaming this stuff in their face and then thinking they're depressed when they're just bored. Yeah. And no, man, I'm sorry. Hey, being bored's normal.
Yeah. They've talked about how the depression, has increased so much with smartphone usage. And I think it's a little bit of boredom, but I also think it's a little bit of just comparison and things like that. And plus you're just given so much without any warning or training or anything. Yep. You know what I mean? Yep. there's no one, especially our generation, that was the first ones who really truly, I feel experienced this, getting cell phones at 16 years old. that's because that's when they became readily available, and, I guess it's probably even harder on kids that probably are in their 20s right now that have grown up with Facebook and Instagram and things like that. But like no one taught you that like this stuff isn't real that you're seeing, or, and even how social media has changed. We talked about how much social media has changed in the last 4 or 5 years of like fake skits, over embellishing, like used to, you would catch like real moments, and then people realize, oh, these moments can be staged and I can still get the same amount of views. And then, well,
the tabloids were popular. You saw them. I mean, I remember growing up seeing the like crazy magazines at the, grocery stores or whatever. But like my mom was not into that. She didn't buy any of that mess. So therefore I never really saw beyond the cover of whatever I saw at the grocery store. Well, now that type of stuff's being beamed in your face all the time, right? Like all this like, oh, the Queen of England is actually the Loch Ness Monster. Here's proof. And then you watch the videos and you're like, well, I mean, I know this is fake, but they do such a good job at putting the stuff together that you're like, I don't know what to think.
Well, and the more controversial, the more divisive, all that stuff, the better it's going to do.
That's right.
So,
yeah, that's right. So short of stuff we do for work, and, we put out plenty of entertaining content here, short of trying to study something for that or using it for that, man, I don't really use social media that much. I did for a while, but like, it's not, I don't care about my brand like that. Right. You've got the personal brand and stuff going, but even yours has changed to more kind of like wholesome family.
Yeah, and
it never was brain rot. So
I definitely. I posted something about like give your child. When should you give your child a phone when you're ready for their childhood to end, a smartphone or whatever. And there's some people that like had some very defensive comments on there. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. You can do whatever it's your child, however you feel like you need to raise your child. One person was like, I really wanted to know their location, so I decided that that's when they could have a smartphone. It's like, there's numerous different ways to handle that, and that's the way you decide to handle it, and like that's your prerogative.
Yeah, the thing is, when you give them a smartphone, you're not giving them a phone, right? So that's always the first justification, is that like, well, I just need to know where they are. Well, okay, you can do an Apple Watch, you can do all kinds of GPS enabled things. Every cell phone provider has a kid phone watch thing. Well, I just want to be able to call them. Okay, too. They have all kinds of things that don't connect to these apps.
Yeah.
Or you can brick them or like dead all these apps. But every parent I know that wants to be so defensive, because we're the same way. My son has an Apple Watch and he has an iPad, and he has tons of restrictions on his iPad, and he knows better anyways. But like, he can use that thing. He can use his watch to call me anytime he wants to. He can use his iPad if he's got Wi-Fi to FaceTime me if he wants to. He's got his cousins in there and like some family members, but other than that, man, he doesn't really have a way to go out and find anybody or do anything like that. And because it's been limited, because him and his friends, truthfully, I believe this, because like you get your kid an iPhone or whatever, or your kid's friend gets one. Well, then they're like, hey, let's see what this thing can do. Just like you found dad's like porn mag under the bed or something. You're like in a secluded, like, let's see what we can do. Let's not ask our parents, right? There's all this hiding type stuff. And like, I think that's where a lot of we have a lot of issues with kids, man, when you let them go off and do stuff kind of in hiding amongst themselves. And with the internet being as powerful as it is, and the fact that it's all boom right in here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, you can't give that to your kids. Yeah, you can't, dude. It's like the Pandora's box, book of knowledge. They're not ready for it.
Right. Yeah. I think that's the hard part, is just like, the truth is like, I don't think you're even ready for it.
Dude, I'm not ready for the internet. Yeah. I mean, like some days, Well,
I mean, you look at how many adults struggle with their screen time. Well, I can get into a theory about how everyone is practically just a child emotionally, because I think that a lot of people aren't taught how to feel, regulate,
dopamines,
control their emotions. And then, like you said, they honestly get addicted to the dopamine. I mean, drug addictions are a chemical addiction. Mm-hmm. And I think you could argue that cell phone can be an addiction.
Absolutely, man. They figured out a way to put that dopamine hit in everybody's pocket. You've got, even all the way down to like Apple. I use Apple products, but you feel a certain way when you see Apple products.
Yeah.
They've done that. You feel a certain way when you fire up Instagram. You feel a certain way when you fire up. Because whatever it does for you, the second you go to fire it up, you can feel it. You're like, oh, yeah.
Right.
You know, and like whatever that is, or whatever content you're looking for. It could be like kittens and rainbows and all, but you let me fire this up and get this going.
Right.
And when you don't have it, people get depressed, they get sad, the mood swings like crazy.
I saw a video where a guy said he took 7.5 weeks off of social media, and he took a memory test before he got off, and he was in the 50th percentile for memory. When he got done with the 7.5 weeks, he was at 99th percentile for memory.
I believe that.
I literally told Aubrey the other day, I said, Aubrey, I literally used to have a sharp memory.
Me too.
I was so good with call information. And I think what's happening is your mind is trying to like shuttle and process all this extra information that you don't need, right? And so because of that, information that you would normally remember, like, what'd you have for breakfast? And you're like, hold on. And you're having to like, but you'd be able to recall it a lot quicker. But now you're having to like shuttle information around.
Yep.
And you're like, wait, what did I have for breakfast? Like what?
Yeah. Well, truthfully, man, it's also just that whole emotional overload all the time. I mean, I feel like folks' lives used to be fairly flat. You know, you kind of had, you know, that's why everybody knew everybody's business, because that was the exciting thing or whatever. And now it's just like, man, you can get a hit of everything. You know, what terrors are going on every corner of the earth, what craziness is going on every second of the day.
Well, Aubrey and I talked about how it can't be good for your body to literally, within a 5-minute period scrolling on Instagram, you can laugh, cry,
get upset, get mad.
All this stuff. And now with social media, used to you watch like a TV show and you had your opinion about something. Now there's like, oh, well, this is their side. This is this side. This is this. And
this
so
is
it's
what
like
it means.
so much extra information.
Yeah.
About everything. And so, yeah, I mean, yeah. And Reddit threads about me. All right. Mr. B's travel schedule.
This was my travel schedule at one point. I flew to Canada, spent a couple weeks in Canada filming. Then I flew to like LA to speak at a conference. And then I flew from LA to San Francisco to speak at another conference. And I flew to Germany to launch Feastables and film a video in Germany with a bunch of creators around Feastables. Then we flew to the Netherlands. Well, we ate dinner in a hot air balloon for a video. And then we flew to the Canary Islands to film on a submarine. After that, we flew to Dubai to ride a camel for $1. Then we flew to Oklahoma. Well, we have a video coming up where we helped 2,000 people walk again. Then I flew to Guatemala and spent 2 days there helping more people walk again. Then we flew to Ecuador, spent 2 days in Ecuador to help hundreds of people walk again. Then we flew from Ecuador to Florida to help hurricane victims, Florida to Raleigh to do the zero gravity space thing. And then from Raleigh back to Dubai because the Burj Khalifa wasn't ready when I went there the first time. So I had to fly all the way back just to stand on top of the Burj Khalifa. I remember coming back to my bed after all this travel and I was just like, is this my house?
It's intense.
Yeah, I wonder what the time period for that was.
Intense.
Because some of them, he said he stayed for like a couple weeks in Canada and stuff like that. You know, travel is really how much you're slumming it to me. Like when Kim Kardashian travels, I go,
not hard.
It doesn't seem like your life changes that much. Like, yeah, you don't have your bed, but like people still cook for you.
Yeah.
You're
that level of celebrity, whether you're flying out of the airport or the FBO side, like you're taking secret passageways to your plane.
Well, yeah. It's like, do you think he was flying on a normal plane?
Back and forth to Dubai, probably, but like Qatar Air in the pods.
Right.
In a private room.
Right.
Basically. So no, I don't think he had to.
Well, and like to Canada and...
I don't know. I don't know whether he flies private jets or not, but I mean, like, if you fly first class on the right planes on the right airways, like, it's probably as good as charter.
Right. It's true. I mean, yeah. Because I'd have to wonder because, like, you would think by his net worth, he would obviously be able to afford that. And with that much travel, you know, them leasing a plane or something like that kind of makes sense because they have a whole crew they're moving and gear.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And things like that. But,
yeah, either way, though, I agree with you. If you're staying in top-notch digs and it's not as bad. Like, look, I know that he had to build himself to get there. I'm not taking away from anything that he had to do to get there. But yeah, I don't think it'd be that difficult. I don't think his cameraman's complaining or any of the other people.
And too, when I think about travel, I start thinking about travel with kids, you know, and I'm like, oh yeah, nightmare. But then I was like,
when we go out of town for work, it's like, oh, this is easy. Yeah, just get an Uber whenever you feel like, get a whatever, whenever.
Or walk.
No plans needed. Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm going to go get some dinner. Like, all right, sweet. You know?
Yeah, it's not a whole deal.
Yeah. So I don't know. to me, I'm like, yeah, that sounds busy, but I also don't think it sounds hard.
Nah.
So, all right. High value, zero profit.
How are tech startups worth billions but lose money?
Yeah.
Tech unicorns like Airbnb, Uber, Spotify, Lyft, Instacart, Peloton, GitHub, Zoom, Docker, and more are worth over $4.5 trillion. Yes, with a T. But they don't even make $1 in profit. Why? Tech companies pitch ideas to venture capitalists for funding. These venture capitalists understand that it'll go two ways: complete bankruptcy or a potential for 1,000 times on their investment. These tech companies will go through heavy rounds of fundraising, which will boost the valuation of the company. The more you focus on growth, the less likely your company is going to fail with all those users. Grow fast and profit later. A common philosophy in the world of tech.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, but like, how far can you kick the can down the road? You know,
everybody thinks it's going to be like Amazon. I don't know, and even then I could argue that Amazon is still this gigantic thing waiting to.
Well, they just passed Walmart. They did officially pass Walmart.
I know, man. I know. But when you get so large that nobody can acquire you.
Yeah, but they're saying people now to go for search for stuff are not searching for an item on Google or anything anymore. They just go straight to Amazon. So like you're talking, you're talking about the Apple effect and all that stuff. I think Amazon is now,
I agree,
created that effect that like even like younger than us, they're not going to go onto Google shopping.
Amazon makes it
anything.
easy. I mean, like I got the, you got the little app on your phone and you're like, yeah, let me just get on Amazon, see if they got it. Cause even if I could save money somewhere else a little bit, unless it's a significant amount of money, like it's just easier to put it on Amazon. It's going to go to my house. My card's already in there. I trust that it's not getting,
Yeah,
if I have a problem, Amazon's going to
take care of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
But I mean, I know Walmart Plus is pushing hard to like combat that, to do like very similar delivery stuff. But my one issue with Walmart is I have done, the delivery from them, and it was like one of them was delayed, and then there's something else I had an issue, and I was like, man, I order on Amazon all the time, and I have delays, but I like the amount that you're picking from is like,
I feel like Walmart missed the boat a little bit. I mean, I feel like Amazon's been putting in that work, at least with me. They got me to sign up for the Prime membership.
Walmart could have won so fast because they had they have distribution already built at all their Walmart stores. Everywhere. They could have centralized, shipped it to a Walmart store through their distribution networks, and had a Walmart person deliver to you. Maybe it's not free 2-day like Prime does, but you just make it free, like 4-day shipping or something like that, and gets it to the distribution center, and then their driver takes it out and delivers it to you or something like that. I think they missed the boat so bad. But this is what I'm talking about. Big businesses aren't willing to change. Walmart's been around much, much longer than Amazon.
Oh yeah.
They don't want to change. Then they realize too late.
Oops.
But they have the capital to buy up the cool brands or do whatever to try to pivot.
Blockbuster themselves.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah. Well, Blockbuster had a chance at Redbox, and now look at Redbox too.
And Netflix.
So, yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. All of those are, I would love to have been pitched those ideas, because I feel like if you can't see that's the future, like, is it make people's lives easier? Is it convenient? Is it cheap? Like all these things, like if it starts checking a lot of these boxes, it doesn't matter if it doesn't seem like it's the most orthodox way or whatever. It's going to happen.
Yep.
Because people want easy, cheap, convenient,
mass, mindless, entertainment, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Easy.
All right. Simple business, large returns.
There's a guy who his entire investment strategy explained in an interview. He's like, you guys are going to be bored about what we're going to do for the next 55 minutes because I can explain it in 5. And we're like, and I'm listening. I'm like, okay, here's it. He's like, okay. So what I do is I find a city and I find the main street, because usually there's a main street that goes through the middle of the city. It's the oldest street, whatever. It's like, and then I take a ruler and I go out 30 miles and then I buy all that land. He's like, and then I wait 20 years.
Always good with the advice here.
Well, I do know people that do this, like in Texas, especially because, cities, especially around Dallas, you have all these like little bitty cities that start popping up. And I know this person that there's a developer that goes in, and it takes them like, usually 3 years to do these master plan communities, but they're a lot like, imagine Sweet Bay, but actually done in 3 years because it's just like a huge developer. Yeah. But like huge centralized pool, amenities, HOA, and they go in there and they buy like 3 or 4 houses off the rip for like $450,000, the intro rates in these houses. And then by the time he's done in 3 years, they can sell these houses for like $850,000, $900,000. And so,
well, that's fairly short-term developing. I mean, I actually know people like the guy he is talking about in here that do go to towns, even towns like Panama City. Their family did it in Panama City. Yeah. They bought up all of 23rd Street, and they still own it today. And they're everybody's landlord. And cool. Like, my grandfather didn't invent something and have $100 million in 1970. So, like, that's not really on the table for me. Again, I would chalk that up to the some of the advice, non-advice. Like, yes, if you're sitting around on a couple $100 million, do that.
Right.
If you're not, maybe short-term development, maybe some other hustle.
Yeah, because I would say even to buy 30 miles off of the main street is not that far in a big city, especially. Nope. And to buy a substantial amount of land, you're going to need
a substantial
tens of millions of dollars that
to
can
sit on for 20 years.
Yeah. So,
because none of it's going to cash flow. No bank's going to loan on it. I mean, they might loan on it, but like you're going to have significantly more money because it's not going to cash flow because it's a town that has to wait 20 years for it to be profitable. Right. So,
yeah, it's kind of like Grant Cardone's interview where it's who asked him, Lewis Howes or whatever asked him that said, if I gave you $100 million, how would you turn it? Or whatever.
Turn it into a Billy.
Yeah, and he was like, well, first I just take it to and they 10x it for me right there.
Boom, because that's how it works.
It makes no sense. Overthinking in business.
I'm struggling creating my LLC.
What do you mean you're struggling to create your LLC?
I'm overthinking names and trying to figure out.
Names don't mean shit. Hold on. You're struggling to come up with the name?
Yeah.
Do you know what my personal LLC is?
I know you've got Gary V, VaynerMedia.
No. You know what the world knows it as. But the registered LLC is attention at scale. Means nothing.
Okay.
What's your favorite color?
Green.
And what's your first name again?
Rhonda.
I literally want you to register Green Rhonda Austin LLC. That is the name of your LLC. Go spend $267 or whatever the it is, register your LLC. Here's why. What you sell in front of that LLC can be a totally different brand name. I don't need you to overthink your LLC. That's silly. Do you understand?
Yeah, perfectly.
Well, but you still got to come up with a brand name.
Yeah, so this again falls under non-advice to me, man. Like if you are at the stage where you think, I mean, he's right. It doesn't matter. But if you're at the stage where you think it does, you need to learn a lot more probably before you're just like, I got a business.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why they all fail. No, the name doesn't matter. You can file a DBA. Yes, you still have to come up with branding, of course. You need more than just but like, but that part doesn't matter.
I think the only thing the LLC would help you do is like set up bank accounts and things like that. But at the end of the day, like you're going to have a brand name, image, all that kind of stuff too. So that advice to me isn't really helpful because you could also name your LLC like whatever your business was going to be if you knew what your business was going to be named. So
yeah, I mean, Hokey Pokey LLC or whatever, it doesn't really matter. You can then file a DBA. It can be your personal name. You can do all kinds of things on the naming of a legal entity. It's just paperwork you do with the government. But like my advice would be, I think you need to like maybe take a course or something on like what it is to have a business and where it matters. And I mean, if this is throwing you bank accounts and tax codes,
well, I think a lot of people make up excuses as to why they can't go to the next thing.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? I think people mentally give themselves barriers. I don't know if it's because they don't know how other people are going to perceive what they decide to name their LLC. I don't know if it's because, what that reason is. I mean, there's probably a million different things we can come up with. But the truth is, a lot of people create barriers for themselves and then they act like they're just, I'm figuring this out. I'm figuring this out.
We bought and sold, fast food stores, came with the real estate, all that good stuff. I mean, a lot of the LLCs were just the address of the place.
Next door, when I bought that, you know what that LLC was?
Raccoon Love.
Raccoon Love LLC.
Yeah, that's right. Raccoon Love.
Yeah, and it was a doctor that owned it. So I remember being like, Raccoon Love? Like, what is this? So, I mean, I don't know. Like, we have Fat and Weird Cookie Jar. We got all kinds of stuff. Determine Your Worth. Like that's one of mine, you know? So, the rental properties that me and Tyler had, it was Murphy Bromlow Rental.
That's it. Yeah.
So,
just anything easy. I mean, it's just you and the IRS.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Raccoon Love LLC right there. Yeah. Yep. So,
yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that really that, another struggle I have on social media is like, I don't know, is that good advice for someone? I guess it is. It's someone needed that advice, but I think that the advice that needs to predicate that is like, hey, I don't think you're ready for the steps that you're taking.
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend just reading a book or two on this before you commit to it. I think so many people are willing to like commit to something without even testing the waters a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know. I mean, cause like some people go out and crush it, right? And they don't. And then some people, they fail. But I don't know. I guess I'm not truly concerned with how anyone else wants to do things. But like, I would just say my advice would be like, if you have the ability to test the waters in security, you should do that. It just makes more sense. Yeah. I don't see any reason to just jump in blind and hoping for the best is like the best option ever.
Well, not thinking that your LLC name is going to be what saves you.
Right.
Definitely not.
Yeah. In fact, I would say like product, like company names, like
unless you're doing government work. If you are doing government work, take some time to think about what your corporate name is going to be, because that's what's going to be listed on everything.
Right.
And it is going to hit some person's desk that's going to look at it, your name and the next guy's name. And that's why a lot of them have these like elegant science and engineering and all this stuff in the name.
Right.
So kind of like, oh yeah, they probably do that, but it could just be some person with some paperwork
right
in an office waiting to get a contract, but you want to name it as if you're this large.
But I mean, let's talk about names that like, I mean, Lululemon, like that name only sounds cool to you now because it's become mainstream. But if someone would have said like, you know, oh, check out these Lululemon, you'd be like, Lulu what? Like Lululemon, like this, you know? And so, I mean, I think there's a lot of companies out there that their names only sound cool because they made it, you know? If they weren't big companies now, they like, I mean, Hershey, like that's a weird word, really.
Nike.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. So, I mean, like all of them are just like, you know, Adidas, like all this stuff, UGG.
Yeah.
They're UGG.
UGG.
Or Crocs.
Yep.
Like, you know, I just think that like a lot of people put so much thought into the name, and I think like at scale, it probably doesn't matter nearly as much as you think it. As long as it's just not bad, I guess that's the truth.
It's all the marketing that goes behind it, you know, making people feel.
Yeah, it is really about how you make people feel. All right, I feel like we're moving quick, but we'll go into shower thoughts then.
If you get rid of all laws, you technically get rid of all crime.
Well, yeah, if you're not breaking a law, then there is no.
Yeah, you could if you felt like arguing, you could say there should be moral laws, that, you know, we follow moral codes because they feel right and not because, you know, like I think we don't murder because we feel morally opposed to it, not because it's illegal.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I would hope.
I mean,
so.
the legality of a lot of my actions is so I don't know what's illegal per se. I don't think about that part.
Right.
I just do what feels right, and it's normally legal.
Right.
I know there are some gray areas where there are things where you're like, you didn't know it was a law, you should have. I don't know what that is. I've never been accused of it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
The reason cheaters never win is because the cheaters that won didn't get caught.
Yeah, that's true. Cheaters win all the time. I competed in athletics for a long time, and I knew plenty of cheaters, and they won a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, Lance Armstrong won a lot, and then he got caught, right?
Yeah.
And so they can't say cheaters don't win because he definitely won quite a bit. So
using your computer to shop for a new computer is like forcing someone to dig their own grave.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
That's pretty funny.
Minivans have sliding doors so kids don't open them into other cars.
Yeah, I knew that. Minivans don't. And it's actually like a pretty smart design, to be honest with you, because it is way easier to get your kids in and out. I don't understand like why they don't put it on SUVs and stuff. It would just
I don't either. I mean, they are clever. It's a clever design. You can pull up very close to anything and still get in and out, especially if you're a bigger person.
Yeah, and they open usually bigger.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we need to calls people up like, hey, we need some minivans.
Minivan
And they got
doors.
the button ones. Just open
those
up,
are
you
nice.
know?
Like
so
a spaceship.
Yeah, my only knock, I think, with minivans is, one, I mean, I know why they're lower to the ground for kids, but I don't like how low they are to the ground.
I don't
It's
either.
like obscenely low.
Yeah.
And my daughter can climb up into my SUV is not that high, but like it's higher than a minivan would be, and she can climb up in there just fine.
Yeah.
And then usually the engines in them are like the same size as a car,
Right.
and it's just like
super lackluster.
Yeah, and so it's like I think that if they,
hybridized an SUV with like a legit engine in it. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
something that the dads actually want to drive.
Yeah, because I mean, I would actually love to have the sliding doors on one or both sides. Like, great.
Yeah, because who's the one worried about the door? Me.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody else oblivious. Windstorm doesn't matter. Let the door go.
Yeah. And actually today, so where I park, on the road, whenever I go to open the doors that are like away from my house, they always want to close again unless I get them all the way open, right? And then you feel like you're like opening your door to like the road like that. And so this morning I went to like open it and like I'm going to do something that's like shutting back on me again, and I was like,
it's the worst.
If I had a sliding door, no issue.
problem.
No issue.
People say life is short, but it's literally the longest thing you'll ever do.
It's not long enough though.
Oh man,
it's not long enough.
It's all relative, anyways. Too. I mean,
I know, but do you ever see those like life calendars or whatever, where they like show how much percentage of? I mean, no one knows when they're going to end, but on that base.
Yeah. Have you? I think we've talked about this here. Have you the theory on like perceived life? Mm-hmm. So like to my daughter who's about to turn 4, a year of her life is 25% of her life, right? Whereas, I'm turning 38. You're turning 37 this year. Yeah. So like a year of our life is like almost, it's nothing.
Right,
it's like, it's like, what is like two weeks to us is like, 2 months to her or longer, And so it's weird to think about. I mean, when you turn 52, a year of your life now is like a week.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Comparatively,
Yeah, I heard that explained a little differently, but the same thing, and it hit me like a ton of bricks, man. It was like, oh yeah, that is why time feels so much faster.
So when your life expectancy, like let's say it's 78, I think it's actually less than that now. It's like 72, but 78. I think it's something like when you're 22 or 23 years old, you're at your midlife by perceived life.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I feel like after college and everything, your life just feels like it's going so much faster.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I mean, I remember college, I remember thinking that was a long 4 years.
Not 4 years, nothing.
And you've been with Fat and Weird now almost at the 2-year point, right?
I've been over 2 now.
Oh, okay. I thought it was March, but so right at the 2 or right around 2 years. And it feels like it's not even been that long.
Oh yeah, nothing, man. Well, I mean, you got the new baby, you got Letty, but I got an 11-year-old. I remember having the baby. I remember holding him, all that stuff, everything that everybody told you and all that. It's like now it's like I'm the one telling people that stuff. And it like feels like it was no time ago.
Well, I felt like Christian had his baby forever before we had ours. And then I'm like, you still got a baby.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Eat it up, man.
We weighed Beckham. How much? He's 8 weeks old. How much do you think he weighs?
Like freaking 10 pounds, 20 pounds. I don't know.
13
Hell
pounds.
yeah, big boy.
Yeah, I think that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a house, man.
And I literally looked at him yesterday, and because I've been quarantined, I really haven't been around him. Sure. I obviously don't want to get him or Aubrey sick. And I got pretty close yesterday and was like helping Aubrey with some stuff, and I was like, dude, he's huge.
Yeah.
Like he's huge. I mean, for you, he's probably as big as a 6-month-old Liam was, because Liam was so small. But no, I mean, he is huge. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like he is not a baby.
Yep. That's crazy, man. They grow so fast.
So
if you've read the dictionary, you've read every book ever, but in the wrong order.
Okay.
Every book ever, but in the wrong order. Okay.
Just one word of each.
A ton of cars would only be like half a car.
A ton of cars by weight.
Yeah, by weight.
Would only be like half a car, because cars weigh more than a ton.
True that.
Maybe your eyes water when you yawn because you miss your bed and that makes you sad.
I don't know if I caught that one, but oh no, who cares? We'll just keep going.
Heat, pressure, and time are the 3 things that make a diamond, but they're also used to make a waffle.
Pressure and time. Well, I mean, it's used to make a lot of things, I guess.
Heat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, pressure, time, and heat, though, is what an Instant Pot uses and stuff. Just not the same scale and not the same ingredients, right?
At all.
Well, that's why it matters. It matters what you're mixing and how you're cooking it. You know,
right.
You mix certain things together and cook it, you get meth. You mix other things together and you cook it and you get cookies.
That's right.
Both are, no, I'm just kidding. No. Don't try meth. I've never tried meth. All right. Just want to clarify that.
There are roughly 6,500 spoken languages in the world, but we all sound the same when laughing.
That is pretty funny. Like laughs are kind of universal.
Yeah, they are.
Cries are universal too, though.
Yeah.
So I guess it'd be like emotions. Like, oh, well, you can tell when people are excited in different languages and stuff like that.
True that.
So I think it's more of just emotions are.
Emotion bleeds through on anything.
Yeah, it's pretty universal concept. I am pretty excited, which this may be a bad thing, when AI gets to the point where like I can literally just like talk into something and it like will just project out the other language so that, you know, because I think when you get to that point, you're going to travel and commerce is going to go through the roof. Yep. When people can start going to anywhere in the world and they can talk and speak that language and someone can talk and they can hear it and it can
I think it's going to lead to very quickly one language. I think English will probably be the one that takes over. But the barrier on a lot of folks right now is learning it, of course. The rest of the world has the benefit of Hollywood productions and movies and everything where like, and TikTok and just popular culture. The rest of the world's learning English incredibly fast. Like when I traveled,
but I don't even think they're going to need to though.
I know, but when I traveled a lot and I was younger, but like the phones were just like, I had to like flip open deal and stuff. You just didn't have any of that. And so like you'd go to places where you needed interpreters and stuff, but like now, man, I mean, just you see videos, you meet people from everywhere and like they just speak English well.
When did we went to FIBO in Germany and it would have been like 2019 when we went. So like 5 years ago, it was April of 2019. Yep. Yeah, because we had Fat and Weird because we were shipping out, you know, one time a week and it was when we were in Germany and I remember Josh Watson calling me and this is when we baked the exact amount of cookies that we needed, you know, because everything was pre-orders. Exactly. And they had accidentally like misshipped a cookie and he was at the post office digging through like 500 packages to find this one they accidentally like double shipped and you know and they had called me in Germany. I'm like I can't do anything but thanks for letting me know, you know. Wow. But I say that because we were trying to like navigate and we were like using Google Translate and people were like iffy on whether they could even understand it, you know?
Yeah.
And so
it's coming fast though.
Yeah. Yeah. You get rid of all laws you technically well, that's it. Those shower thoughts were rapid fire shower thoughts. Yeah.
Machine gun.
Well, I'll tell you, I've noticed people are doing what I already told you. They're editing their videos faster.
Yep.
So I think Garrison said he was watching my video at like 1.5 speed because he didn't realize I had it on that. And like he didn't really notice that it was going that much faster.
Yep.
And then when I was sick this weekend, I watched some Netflix shows because I was like bored in that quarantine room. And I watched them all at 1.5 speed. Do you know you could do that?
Yep.
So I watched everything at 1.5 speed. And I told Josh, I was like, I watched a whole season of Night Agent. Have you ever seen that one show?
I've seen it on there.
Okay. But it's a good show. Yeah. I mean, it's a good show. But I watched the whole second season of that and it's like 10 episodes. They're like 45 minutes. So like 450 minutes. But I watched it at 1.5 speed. So I spent 30 minutes watching this. So,
boom.
Or sorry, 300 minutes. So like, literally, though, save myself 2.5 hours.
That's what we need to do, man. Do you want more dopamine faster? Here's how you can do it. Dopamine hacks.
Yeah, sorry.
Instead of work hacks or, you know, like wake up earlier, it's like, no.
Well, now when you only have to watch, when you have this rule, I only watch one episode before I go to bed. I'm helping you get to bed quicker, okay?
That's right.
It's a time hack. But no, I mean, you saw that. It's something I wish they did on Instagram. On TikTok, you can like hold your finger down and speed it up to 2x because it's like, gets the point, man. I do it all the time on Instagram. When the video's long, I'm just like scrolling through to like,
yeah, man, but it makes our attention span when you're dealing with other people so bad.
I know.
Where people are like, and you're like, no, you got to go faster. There's not time for that big old deep breath. No.
Yeah. It is. It's true. I know. I'm the worst about it. I've literally been like, I'm like, I don't
record yourself so I can watch it faster.
Well, no, like I don't. Can we just communicate mentally somehow?
Yeah,
that,
man.
You know, from those, what was that? Those tapes from the autistic kids. Remember they were talking about the nonverbal, the telepathy tapes. Yeah. But yeah, I would literally was like 1.5 speed hack, man, just blowing through that. So
yeah.
Do you don't watch YouTube on any of speed?
I watch YouTube and stuff on 1.5.
Yeah,
I watch YouTube. I don't watch that much Netflix, so.
You don't venture to 2x speed much?
No, not normally. Well, I have on some of the like slow, long-winded people, yeah. But normally I watch just the folks that I watch already have a natural cadence. It's a little faster because that's why I like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the, you start looking at some of the science, some of the Neil deGrasse Tyson, some of those folks, they talk in such a slow cadence that you can speed them up indefinitely.
Yeah, but I do think you're right. I mean, it's made it so that my patience for just normal stuff is, but the average human attention span is 8.25 seconds, but very depending on age. I think it's even lower than that now.
Yeah, they
say a goldfish though is 9 seconds, so we have less.
8.2's in 2013.
Right. Oh yeah. They actually said our attention span now is under 3. See if you can find an updated one.
2025.
Yeah, 2025 or something. It's projected to be around 8 seconds, but
no, I know what you're talking about too.
Oh, there's some stuff on the side over there that tells you some stuff. Decreased. No, keep going down and just see if there's. Who knows? But either way, the point is the goldfish is supposedly 9, and so. I mean, I would agree with that. I could open up my reels and tell you that the average time spent on videos is usually like under 10 seconds. You know, but yeah. No matter what, the point is our attention spans in the last 25 years have dropped by 30%, 40%. You know?
Yeah.
So either way, that's terrible for what we're doing. So Fat and Weird related stuff, really cool stuff. We are in every Wegman store with bites and cookies. By the time this goes live, we'll have all bites and cookies will be in stores because I think it's happening like in a couple of days. It will be at like 80%. So by the time this goes live, they should be everywhere. We are in the talks with some other big retailers. We have stuff going on with GoPuff coming soon. Some meetings with some big clubs, if you will. Yep. And we're redesigning the packaging, doing some branding stuff. Kind of having a pause with some of the branding stuff because one of the lead guys is out for a couple weeks, but I think he's back next week. Yeah, so we'll be kicking back up with them. And we're going to individualize bags for a lot of our cookies. So that way, just a lot of progress on this stuff. Truthfully, some of the stuff that I should have done earlier, but it's really hard to know where you're going and what you're doing. And truthfully, sometimes you don't have the cash to do some of the things
expensive.
if you're self-financing,
for sure. For sure.
And so I think that's one of the things I'm proud of is that we haven't brought anyone to help us on board. Not saying I wouldn't. Right person comes along and gives us the right valuation, I'm more than happy to bring on someone, right? Yeah. But I think it's all because I just want to grow quicker. I want to be a name brand, product. And we just have such cool stuff that we already have done and just so much more cool stuff that we can do that, I would like to.
Future's bright. That's for sure.
In that. I think in a couple of weeks, we're going to Atlanta for Packaging Expo, which we have some needs for some new machines and just want to kind of see what's out there. Cause really, I don't know unless you're like in like some kind of like packaging and design or engineering field, like how you even know that this stuff exists unless you go to these events.
Yeah. But you can learn, you learn so much at these things that if you guys are in any industry and can find a convention, an expo, something, especially if it's a big one, like we're going to a big one in the packaging world. Yeah. Everybody who's anybody will be there. You can hear it straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. You can watch the machines.
Well, yeah, they
work.
have all these machines set up. Like I remember the first time we went, they had machines that like, because Derek was with me and he was doing a lot of Alpha Lead stuff. They had machines where you would just take the clothes and you put it into this basket and they like formed the bag around it. So instead of buying polymelers and you're trying to like stuff them in there, like it made the perfect size for you. And then you would scan the barcode on it and it would like pull up their order and print the label. So you're losing the error in accidentally doing something wrong. So it checks the products, validates the order, it puts a label on it and all that stuff. And then I think, Nick Bear has one of those machines where you put the product on there and it forms the box on it and does it. And then, so a similar thing, but a box instead of a poly mailer. Poly mailer is just way cheaper. It'd be nice if we could ship cookies in poly mailers because it'd be super easy. Yeah, it's so cheap compared to boxes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But that being said, it's just wild, the technology that's there, the printing that they can do, forming machines, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I would highly recommend if you are in a field or you're starting a business in a sector that has some kind of expo that services it or a part of that kind of thing, go. You learn so much, make a lot of good connections.
Make contacts for sure.
Yeah. And then anytime you're having an issue, you just call up these people and they're ready to help you out on that. And then after that, literally, I think the week after that, I'm going to Austin.
Yep.
Gonna meet up with some people. I talked to Preston Bear, Nick Bear's older brother, actually, and he's gonna give us a tour of their HQ they're currently in, and then they're supposed to be moving into their new HQ like sometime in April, maybe late April. So it'll be like 6 weeks out. So not close, but like pretty close,
yeah,
right?
Very close.
So that'll be really cool to kind of see that whole thing and to see all that stuff. Hopefully I'll get to see Nick Bear. It's hit or miss whether I can get a hold of him sometimes. So we'll see, but that should be a really fun trip.
Yeah.
So that's a lot going on
a lot going on the next couple weeks.
Yeah. We still got to figure out where we're staying in Atlanta and do all that stuff. But that's kind of the update for Fat and Weird. If you are in Atlanta, shoot me a DM. If you live in Austin, shoot me a DM. I'm going to try to meet up and do a little run. I think Monday morning, we're going to try to run Ladybird Lake 10 miles at 6:30 in the morning. So
nice.
I'll try to get a little run over there, see if we can get some people to join us and do that. So
it'll be fun.
Yeah. But got anything else?
I don't think so.
How's the ankle?
Healing up, man. It's getting better every day. Muscles are taking over. Bones still a little sore, but yeah.
Are you going to go get it checked more or no?
Yeah, I'm going to go. I got an appointment later this week, I think.
Okay.
It's either this week or next week.
Yeah, well, let's get it.
Still that bone's all swollen.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want you to have a bad ankle for the rest of your life. That's just not what you want,
for sure.
So, all right. As always, thanks for watching. You're worth it. Do hard shit.
See ya.